designated official photographers are permitted on the field to take photos during the ceremony. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Colonel Joseph C. Scott, Commander of the 38th Air Defense Artillery Brigade, welcome to the change of command for Task Force Talon. Today, Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan C. Stafford will relinquish the duties as the Task Force Talon Commander to Lieutenant Colonel Christopher R. Garnett. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the invocations delivered by Chaplain Hand, 38th ADA Brigade Chaplain. The official party consists of Colonel Joseph C. Scott, Commander of the 38th Air Defense Artillery Brigade, Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan C. Stafford, Commander of Task Force Talon, Lieutenant Colonel Christopher R. Garnett, the incoming Commander of Task Force Talon, and Lieutenant Governor Joshua Tenorio.
Task Force! Attention!
Please join me with prayer. You may pray according to your patience. Please join me with prayer. Almighty God, we gather today with grateful hearts, thankful for the privilege to stand together in this moment of transition, honoring faithful service and welcoming new leadership. We recognize your presence among us and ask your blessing upon all we do. Lord, we give thanks for the abilities, gifts, and dedication you have bestowed upon Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Stafford. We are grateful for his faithful leadership of Task Force Talon, and for the excellence, character, and commitment he brought to this mission and his people. We ask your continued blessing upon him, his wife, Neil, and their children, Minnie and Jonathan Jr. As he moves into the next assignment you place before him, surround his family with your grace, protection, and favor. Gracious God, we also lift up Lieutenant Colonel Christopher Garnett as he assumed the mantle of command. Grant him the wisdom to lead, the courage to decide, and the humility to serve. May his leadership reflect the highest ideals of selfless service. Strengthen and sustain him, his wife Erin, and their daughters Sadie and Alice, as they embark on this new chapter together. Finally, Lord, We ask your blessing upon all the soldiers, families, and leaders of this unit. Unite them in purpose, guide them in mission, and keep them safe in all they do. We offer this prayer in your holy name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We would like to extend a sincere welcome to our distinguished guests, the Acting Governor of Guam, Lieutenant Governor Joshua Tenorio. The Senior Military Advisor representing the Governor of the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas Islands, Mr. Edward Camacho. Representative from Congressman James Moylan's office, Mrs. Vanessa Salas. The Joint Task Force Micronesia Commander, Rear Admiral Joshua Lasky. The 36th Wing Commander, Brigadier General Charles Cooley. The U.S. Marine Corps Base Camp Laws Commander, Colonel Richard Marshall, Jr. The Adjutant General of the Guam National Guard, Colonel Karen Watson. Joint Region Marianas Commander, Captain Patrick Deacon. Commander of 38th Air Defense Artillery Brigade, Colonel Joseph C. Scott. And other distinguished guests, thank you for attending today's ceremony. The units formed from left to right are Headquarters and Headquarters Batteries, led by Captain Gage T. Smith and First Sergeant First Class Alvin D. Johnson. Echo 388 THAAD Excalibur, led by Captain Henry R. Edgeberger and First Sergeant Stephen M. Smith. The Task Force Talon Color Guard, under the direction of the Task Force Sergeant Major Carl J. Johnson. Tango Battery 343, the Legion, led by Captain Alexander Manville and First Sergeant Master Sergeant Charles Burke. Delta Company 1294, Eulalis, led by Captain Aleo P. Lujan and First Sergeant Charles C. Chagina.
Present. On. Sir, the task force is formed. End the ceremony. Order. On. Parade. Ready.
At this time, the 2025 Task Force Talon NCO of the Year, Sergeant Une, and the Task Force Talon Soldier of the Year, Specialist Rioja, are presenting a bouquet of red roses to Mrs. Neop Stafford. The roses are in full bloom, which symbolizes our love and respect for her devotion and loyal support of the Task Force Talon soldiers and their families. Additionally, gifts will be presented to their two children, Minnie and Jonathan Jr., on behalf of the Guardian Angels. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would like to invite Lieutenant Governor Joshua Tenorio to provide remarks on behalf of the Office of the Governor of Guam.
Good morning. Half a day. And Merry Christmas. Let me first, on behalf of the governor who is in the Philippines, I'm pleased to tell you that she's there because tomorrow morning she's flying on board the first flight from direct service on Philippine Airlines from Cebu to Guam. This is very good work not only for local Filipinos, but actually it's going to be able to help connect us with other places in the world, and hopefully Lieutenant Colonel Stafford, you might be using that flight to come back to Guam when you visit. Colonel Scott, let me welcome you, and I'm just so happy to see integrated the Guam Guardsmen that are part of Task Force Talon. They've been here for several years, and Lieutenant Colonel Stafford, in many ways, you were part of that foundation. I remember meeting you many years ago when I was an employer at the court, and I had service members that were part of that first deployment in the Guam Guard to this task force. And I think over the course of the years, we have shown that there is excellence in the Guam Guard. And the Guam Guard providing that very key foundation of security support for these soldiers, I think has been excellent. And in many ways, Lieutenant Colonel Stafford, you've been here to lay the foundation of what is going to be the first, as we predict, the first permanent assignment of the Army here. And let me just say that over decades, many Chamorros and Guamanians have served in the Army and have never had an opportunity to be stationed here in their home in Guam. And I hope that in the future, despite the complications of geopolitics, that this is going to be an opportunity for Guamanians to come home and to participate alongside the Guam Guard in the defense of Guam, the homeland. I also want to recognize and thank the soldiers that are here. You know, the holidays, they're going to be away from their family members. And I just want to thank them for their sacrifice, thank them for their service, and hope that they'll be able to have some joy while they celebrate the holidays here in sunny Guam. Those of you from places in the Northeast, I hope that you count yourself as blessed, being able to avoid the heavy weather that is part of the holiday season. I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about how greatly appreciative we are that our greatest partnership here in Guam is with the Department of War, and how our people come from a heritage that is a little different from most other Americans. Our heritage includes the fact that we're descendants of people who have been occupied during a different time in our history. We lost 10% of our populations during World War II. Just imagine 10%, which means that for generations, those scars and that loss have meant a lot of things, including influencing the fact that we have some of the highest enlistments in all services of the United States military. That's because we come from that heritage. That also means that we recognize that there is a burden that's on our shoulders for the defense of our nation and the world, but that burden is a responsibility, and we rise to that responsibility. We do rise to that responsibility. Of course, our people do not like receiving threats from the enemies of our country, but this mission, this defense mission, gives them a lot of reassurance that they are not going to be left alone. And in the future, as we proceed with the plans to construct the missile defense system on Guam, we look forward for opportunities for our Guam Guardsmen to take an active role defending our island, defending the homeland. And for that, I want to thank Lieutenant Colonel Stafford for your advocacy for our service members here. And Colonel Scott, we hope that you continue to spread the word. I do for sure at the Department of the Army. Let them know that we have a very excellent group of soldiers and airmen that can be tapped on for the forever defense of this island. Lieutenant Colonel Garnett, welcome to Guam. We look forward to growing this partnership with the Army. We look forward to providing the supports to your soldiers, and we look forward to continuing forging a path of excellence alongside with the Guam Guard. With that, I want to say Merry Christmas. Please give the governor my regards to your family. We look forward to meeting your wife, and we look forward perhaps to your daughter graduating in Annapolis and maybe being assigned here in Guam. So to all of the soldiers and the airmen, I want to thank you. Lieutenant Colonel Stafford, could you please join me up here? And if I can have, you can stand and maybe face the crowd. Lieutenant Colonel Stafford, on behalf of Governor Leon Guerrero and the people of Guam, I want to present you the Magahaga Award. This award, in part, is due to your leadership. During your command, you guided 4 rotations of attached Guam National Guard security forces, totaling more than 350 soldiers. You became a mentor who not only led with heart, but also endured that Guam Guard troops had access to career pathways that broadened their future. You sent soldiers to schools and competitions, pushed for promotions, and created opportunities that reflected your belief in their talent and their potential. During your command, the National Hamilton Award was presented for the first time in history to a non-missile defense unit. Binadu Company received this award for exceptional community service under your leadership. These Talon and Guard soldiers supported the reopening of 14 public schools after Typhoon Mawar. You cleaned parks and beaches, volunteered with GAIN, and showed your love for Guam through countless acts of service. Your respect for Guam's history was woven into your leadership, where you taught soldiers about the events and sacrifices that shaped the island's experience during the Battle of Guam. During the 80th Liberation Parade, you proudly carried the colors of the Army's 77th Infantry Division, honoring one of the units that liberated Guam in 1944. This became the first time those colors were carried on island since World War II. You also understood the value of transparency and communication. You welcomed media and public affairs professionals to Talon events and often spoke personally about the mission. Your openness resulted in hundreds of strategic messages that strengthen deterrence and showcase the cooperation that protects our island and our region. You have served Guam with skill, compassion, and a genuine appreciation for our people, and your leadership helped shape the stronger force, a safer homeland, and a more connected community. Guam offers you, Lieutenant Colonel Stafford, our heartfelt gratitude for your service. We wish you every success in the future as you continue your journey of leadership and purpose. Sujuas Ma'asi on behalf of the Governor and the people of Guam.
Sir, thank you for those kind remarks. Task Force Talon's history began in April 2013 with the SecDef's approval of the deployment of a THAAD battery on Guam to defend against North Korean ballistic missile threats. The task force was in expeditionary status, with units and personnel rotating from Hickam Air Force Base, Hawaii, and Fort Bliss, Texas, on a 365-day temporary change of station cycle. In December 2016, Task Force Talon and Echo 3 THAAD became permanently stationed in Guam under the 94th Army Air and Missile Defense Command. In 2019, the Guam Army National Guard assumed the security mission for the THAAD site. That same year, Task Force Talon was assigned to the 38th Air Defense Artillery Brigade. To this day, the task force stands ready to defeat ballistic missile threats to the U.S. homeland and enables freedom of action for U.S. strategic assets on Guam.
Task Force! Attention! Colors, center, march!
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the singing of the national anthem of the United States of America and the Guam hymn by Mrs. Rochelle Pangilinan.
Present! Present! Oh!
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the official party will take the field to conduct the passing of the Task Force Talon colors. The colors represent not only the unit, but also the unity and loyalty of its soldiers. They are the commander's symbol of authority, representing his responsibilities to the organization. The change of command ceremony is a military ceremony that is rich with symbolism and heritage dating back to medieval times. Soldiers often carried staffs or standards into battle that identified them as a unit. Throughout military history, unit colors have marked the position of the commander on the battlefield and served as a rallying point. Whether attacking or rallying, soldiers would follow the standard or guidance of their leader, most often found at the forward edge of the battle. In more recent times, the colors represent not only the heritage and history of the unit, but also the unity and loyalty of its soldiers. The colors are the commander's symbol of authority, representing his responsibilities to the organization. Wherever the commander is, the colors are there as well. The passing of unit colors represent the transfer of authority and responsibility from one commander to another. The command sergeant major is the keeper of the colors. As the senior enlisted soldier in the unit, he is the spokesman for both the loyalty and concerns of the soldiers and is the principal advisor to the commander. The passing of the colors from Sergeant Major Johnson to Lieutenant Colonel Stafford signifies his last act of allegiance to him. Passing the colors from Lieutenant Colonel Stafford to Colonel Scott signifies that the unit is never without officer leadership. The passing of the colors from Colonel Scott to Lieutenant Colonel Garnett signifies the passing of his trust and also the responsibility for the unit and its soldiers. In accordance with AR 600-20, paragraph 2-5, the undersigned assumes command of Task Force Talon, effective 16 December 2025, signed Christopher R. Garnett, Lieutenant Colonel, Air Defense, commanding. Finally, passing the colors from Lieutenant Colonel Garnett to Sergeant Major Johnson signifies the confidence that he places in the non-commissioned officer corps and a Sergeant Major's first act of allegiance to Lieutenant Colonel Garnett. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of the 38th Air Defense Artillery Brigade, Colonel Joseph C. Scott.
Hey, Task Force Breast, shake it out. Except for the color guard, sorry. Get your hood. All right. Good morning, happy day, and buena. I want to extend once again a warm welcome and our appreciation to some of our distinguished guests, to the Governor Tenorio, Mr. Camacho, Ms. Salas, Ferrer Moldaski, Brigadier General Cooley, Colonel Watson, Captain Deacon, Colonel Marshall, and other distinguished guests. Thank you all for attending. You all honor the soldiers of this outstanding task force with your presence. The number of joint partners and local civic and governmental leaders at today's ceremony is a testament to the importance of this task force's mission and the great relationships it has strengthened with partners across Guam and beyond over the last 2.5 years under the inspired leadership of Lieutenant Colonel John Stafford. As demonstrated in the Middle East around the world over the last several months, U.S. Army air defenders and the soldiers who in turn support and in some cases defend those air defenders have an incredibly critical and challenging mission. That mission requires trained, proficient soldiers and dedicated, selfless leaders, especially here in Guam. Task Force Talon defends critical assets here at the leading edge of the U.S. homeland each and every day, while also supporting challenging multinational exercises here in the Second Island Chain and spearheading some of the U.S. Army's top modernization and transformation procedures. Since the summer of 2023, Lieutenant Colonel John Stafford has led this organization and its unique mix of active duty soldiers, National Guardsmen and women, and contractors through a truly historic period. Under John's capable leadership, the soldiers of Echo Battery, 3rd ADA Regiment, the THAAD Battery, the various security force companies that mobilized to defend the THAAD sites, and their supporting soldiers and contractors soared to new heights in warfighting readiness, modernization, experimentation, and community support. Throughout his command tenure, John maintained a laser focus on combat readiness and lethality. Echo 388 had its most successful gunnery certification in recent memory, while soldiers from the various Second Corps companies had historic success earning expert soldier and infantry badges in the 94th Army Air Missile Defense Command and U.S. Pacific Best Squad competitions. Second Corps 7 even earned the U.S. Army Air Defense Artillery's Hamilton Award as the best air defense unit in the National Guard, yet another historic first. Soldiers from Task Force Talon participated in some of the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command's most important multilateral exercises, Valiant Shield 24, Project Convergence Capstone 5, and RE 4-Pack. The soldiers also played an important role in Operation Slingstone, the joint forces supporting efforts of the Missile Defense Agency's groundbreaking live-fire demonstration of the Guam Defense System last December. Under John's watchful eyes, the soldiers of Task Force Talon continue their efforts to lay the groundwork for the U.S. Army's contributions to that Guam Defense System, securing resources and facilities, preparing for the arrival of a growing number of Army air defenders to support that defense of this mission in the years ahead. Task Force Talon also played a pivotal role in the first ever deployment of the Army's new lower-tier air missile defense center, that big green thing right there, the Indo-Pacific. Talon soldiers spent the past several months learning about the LTAMs and the Army's new integrated air missile defense battle command system so they can support a critical series of system tests in the coming year as our Army's fields this revolutionary system here on the island. While modernization and soldier and unit excellence have been the flashiest exemplars of John's accomplishment, if you were to ask him what he is most proud of, I suspect he would mention the remarkable improvements to the operations and soldier quality of life on the THAAD side over the last 2+ years. John arrived shortly after Super Typhoon Mawar wreaked havoc on the site. Much of his time here, John consistently and fiercely advocated on behalf of his soldiers and civilian teammates to improve the THAAD site to both repair the damage from Mawar and also to address years-old facility operational and logistical shortcomings. The results have been truly remarkable. Whether it's new office containers, a shiny new inner maintenance facility, no more maintenance under the world's most infamous tarp, and the nicest parking lot in our brigade's area. Great leaders always fight for their soldiers, and John has been tireless in doing just that. Missile defense is the ultimate team sport, and John's extraordinary partnerships across Guam and the Commonwealth have been critical to mission success as well. He improved Talon's ties with Joint Task Force Micronesia, 36th Wing, and Joint Region Marianas, and others. And he further strengthened Talon's relationship with our fantastic teammates in the Guam National Guard. He modeled what it means to be a good neighbor and guest here in the islands. encouraging volunteer cleanup efforts and other involvement across the island to the extent that Talon earned top volunteer organization honors from the government of Guam. Despite all the accomplishments I've listed, and there have been many in all these mission areas, the one area where John and his team have truly excelled is in dealing with the virtually endless parade of distinguished visitors to their THAAD site. Numerous senators, congressional representatives, untold numbers of congressional staffers, 2 Indo-PACOM commanders, Chief of Staff of the Army, Vice Chief of Staff of the Army, Secretary of the Army. I think they had like 6 hours notice for that visit. Commanders of the U.S. Army Pacific, Pacific Air Forces, even the Japan Joint Staff's operations officer, literally more general and flag officers than anyone can count. The list goes on and on. John and his team treated every visit as an exciting opportunity to tell the story of their mission, their incredible team, and the truly amazing support they received from all their partners across Guam and beyond. Here's hoping John doesn't have too many more visitors when he goes to his next assignment. I'm sure he'll appreciate the break. In short, Task Force Talon has had an incredible couple of years, and though he will be the last person to take credit for it when he feels others deserve it more, Lieutenant Colonel John Stafford played a tremendous role in all this organization's accomplished. His dedicated advocacy for his soldiers and their mission, steadfast teamwork with Talon's joint partners, efforts to support both fight tonight readiness and modernization, and of course, hosting all those visitors, have led Talon to truly remarkable achievements. John, Emily and I wish you, Mio, JJ, and Minnie all the best as you head to Malaysia for War College and whatever amazing adventures the Army has for you after you graduate. While we will miss Team Stafford, the Army, as always, goes rolling along, and we now welcome Lieutenant Colonel Chris Garnett to the Pacific Guardian family. Chris comes to us from a brief stint at 94th AAMBC in Hawaii, which followed his successful command of the 3rd Battalion 280A Regiment Patriot at Fort Sill in Oklahoma. I know Chris is the absolute right choice to complete the great story of Task Force Talon as we prepare for the activation of 3rd Battalion's 4388 Regiment in the coming year. Welcome, Chris. Thank you all for attending. By valor and power, first line of defense, one team.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, the outgoing commander of Task Force Talon, Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan C. Stafford.
Good morning, buenas, and off day. So before I get into my remarks, let me give my very last command here to Task Force Talon. All right, to all the soldiers in the task force. All right, I want you guys to go ahead and start stretching out those legs. Stretch out those arms. All right, don't let me all falling out because I'm gonna try to keep this as short as I can, but I got so many people I need to recognize today, so I want to make sure you all are ready for this. All right, okay, you guys good and stretched out? All right. All right, so let me first begin by I want to recognize the civilian leadership present here today. First off, Lieutenant Governor Tenorio, you're always a hard act to follow. You're such a gifted communicator, but I really appreciate everything that the government of Guam has done in supporting our task force. And something that's always going to be special to me is the relationship we formed with the Island Beautification Task Force. Our soldiers have just done so much, cleaning parks and different venues here in Guam, as well as our partnership with the Guam Department of Education, cleaning those various schools after Typhoon Maywar. So really appreciate all your leadership with the Island Beautification Task Force. So thank you very much. I'd also like to recognize Mr. Camacho. He's the Senior Military Affairs Advisor for the government of the CNMI. Me and Ed, we actually got some history together. We were actually Deputy Brigade Commanders together over in Japan. So it just kind of shows what a small world we have that he ends up with this position over at the CNMI, and I'm here as a commander in Guam. But Ed, really appreciate you being here today. And we also have 13 soldiers from the CMI serving in our current Sec 4 rotation, as well as one in Echo 3. So really just another example of a great partnership with the CNMI. So thank you for being here. Next, I'd like to recognize the representatives we have from Congressman Boylan's office, Ms. Salas and Ms. Shinohara. Congressman Boylan has always been a great supporter of Task Force Talon, and I appreciate you both being here today as well. Okay, let me next recognize the military leadership here today. Rear Admiral Lasky, Brigadier General Cooley, Colonel Marshall, Captain Zekin, as well as other senior leaders, group, squadron, and battalion commanders, and SELs. Thank you so much for being such amazing joint partners. I mean, there are just so many times that we've had Marines helping us out on site. We've had CVs helping us with building projects, sailors helping us with contracting issues. We've had Air Force, Red Horse personnel helping us build structures on site, or airmen over in the months helping us out with things with our igloos where we store munitions. So I just can't say enough about the great partnership we've had with the joint community here on Guam, and we could not accomplish our mission without all of you. So thank you very much. The Adjutant General of the Guam National Guard, Colonel Watson. I can't say enough how much the partnership with the Guam National Guard has meant to me during my 2.5 years here in command. And I'm just so thankful I see such heavy attendance from all the senior leaders here today for the change of command. Let's see, Sergeant Major Leonin over there, Sergeant Major Perez, Colonel Sanchez, and on. I'm really just so thankful for the partnership with the Guam National Guard. I've had 6 different rotations of National Guardsmen that support the task force. Every single one is different, but one thing that is the same is the quality of the soldiers I get from the Guam National Guard. It makes my job so much easier when I just keep getting outstanding soldiers every single rotation. So once again, just thank you so much for all you do in support of the task force. To my brigade commander, Colonel Scott, thank you for all your leadership and support. The task force over the past year and half of your command, we've had just a number of notable accomplishments, and none of that would be possible without your great leadership and all the support we get from our brigade staff over in Japan. So thank you so much for being here and being an awesome leadership. All right, next I want to thank my subordinate unit leadership of Captain Edgeberger, First Sergeant Smith, First Lieutenant Maled, Staff Sergeant Pangolin, Captain Manville, First Sergeant Burke, Captain Lujan, and First Sergeant Chiquita. For all they've done preparing these soldiers for the ceremony. You guys look great out there, and I really appreciate all you've done to make this ceremony as classy as it is. So thank you very much. All right, let me next recognize our civilian partners. First, Mr. Santos, representing the Guam Chamber of Commerce. Guam Chamber of Commerce, they've invited our soldiers to a number of events, and I can't thank you enough for how the Chamber has made Guam feel like home to all of our soldiers here in Task Force Talon. Thank you very much. Also want to thank Ms. Lujan from the Tumon USO. The Tumon USO, just about every couple of months, they've been coming out to our FAD site. All they've been out to the FAD site. It's a little bit austere, but the ladies from the Tumon USO, they come out there, and I tell you what, just an awesome job that you all do, supporting our soldiers and just improving the quality of life. So thank you very much for all you do for our soldiers. And then also want to recognize anyone from protocol that's here today. So as Colonel Scott talked about, we get so many site visits. So protocol, as well as everybody from the PAO, and I see Chairman PO right there. And so I can't tell you how much work it is to host the VIPs. It's an honor to take the Task Force. It's always an honor to tell the task force story to all the VIPs that come to our site. And also like to recognize members of the Guam media that are here today. So you guys also play an important role in telling the stories from our soldiers. So thank you very much for supporting the task force and being great mission partners. And then I'm going to give a thank you to Ms. Pangolin, who did that awesome rendition of the national anthem and the Guam hymn. Every time I hear the national anthem, you know, I always got it just really feeling down deep. And now I've been on Guam for so long. Every time I hear the Guam hymn, I feel the same way. So really thank you for that beautiful rendition. All right, can I get a round of applause from all of our civilian and military partners here today? All right, so the final thank you I want to give to my wife and family. My wife, she's about to embark on her 12th PCS with me. We're moving to Malaysia next, which is actually going to be our third straight bonus assignment. The 12 roses I gave to her, those actually represent each of those 12 PCSs. My daughter, Minnie, who's here, she's a sophomore at school, and when we move to Malaysia, that's actually going to be her 6th school that she's moved to. And then my son, Jonathan Jr., he'll be on his 4th school when we move to Malaysia. And so that just kind of shows that the life of military family, it's not easy. And I really love and appreciate everything that my family does to support me, because I can't do this without your love and support. So thank you so much. Can I get a round of applause? All right, let me now talk about these great soldiers you see here in front of you today. 2.5 years ago, when I took command, I had 4 goals that I want these soldiers to focus on. The first goal I gave them was that we're going to improve the quality of life for all the soldiers on the THAAD side after Typhoon Mawar. After Typhoon Mawar, when I took command, the THAAD site was largely destroyed. We still had soldiers that did not have water or power yet. Some of them were still displaced. Our maintenance facilities completely destroyed. There's literally parts blown in the jungle, containers ripped apart. So it was just a total mess. But over the past 2.5 years, we've completed or have in progress 12 different construction projects that have improved the THAAD site. Most notable was the maintenance facility that replaced the infamous $100 tarp that we used to do maintenance under. So we have a $1 billion missile defense system, but due to Typhoon Mawar, my maintainers were doing maintenance underneath this tarp. And so all those VIPs I was telling you about earlier, they'd always come by and they'd see that tarp and take a picture with it, and they said, I got to take this back to the Pentagon and show them what you guys are working with. And we eventually did get our funding to get the brand new maintenance facility built, which we opened in May. So that was just a huge win for the task force and for our maintainers. I want to give a special shout out to the supporting commanders at that time that helped out with the post-Typhoon Mawar recovery. My Sec 4 command team back then was Major Shargaloff and First Sergeant Yakin. You guys are here in the audience somewhere there. Yeah, there I see Major Shargaloff. And then also my Echo 3 command team of Captain Campbell and then First Sergeant Smith. He's out here in formation. And then I can't say enough about how much you all did with that post-Typhoon Mawar recovery and caring for these soldiers during that difficult time, and all the work the soldiers did clearing debris and just restoring defensive Guam operations. Thank you so much for your leadership and dedication. The second goal I had for the unit was that we had to build the battalion task force staff. When I took command, the task force staff consisted of my senior enlisted advisor, who at the time was Master Sergeant Waverly. I had my S1, Sergeant Hall, and then Captain Spaulding, he filled in. He was my S2, my S3, my S4, and my S6, and anything else I needed Captain Spaulding to do. So we had a tiny staff. But I'm just so appreciative of the friendship that I made with those 3 individuals during that difficult time, because we worked long hours doing post-Typhoon Mawar recovery and just doing everything we could to establish that staff and make the site better for the soldiers. Towards the end of my first year in command, I began to receive our current task force staff in order to set conditions for the incoming Air and Missile Defense Battalion that's coming to Guam. Staff that I had to 19. Each staff member in their own way has done an amazing job standing up their staff section and effectively conducting battalion-level operations. Next question. Major Johnson, as well as Major Spikes, my S3, and Major Solomon, my executive officer, for being a driving force in developing the staff and being a great example of senior officer and NCO leadership for our soldiers. They have established the same conditions for the arrival of the brand new 343 Air Defense Artillery Battalion this next summer. that will take over the defense of Guam mission from Task Force Talon. The third goal I had for the task force was improve the competitiveness and lethality of the unit. This began early with my first Sec 4 rotation. Team Sindalu, once again commanded by Major Shargalov, they had the honor of becoming the very first 2 soldiers in the Guam National Guard to receive the Expert Soldier Badge. And so that badge is very difficult to achieve, 20% pass rate. And so always was proud of Team Sindalu being able to do that accomplishment, get that first National Guard. And during that same time frame, we also had Echo 3 Thad Battery. They were also had their very first recipient of the Expert Soldier Badge as well. The next Sec 4 rotation, Team Manadu, led by Captain Gorgonia and First Sergeant Gratuius, were recognized for their overall excellence by winning the 2024 Hamilton Award. And so this was actually, as Colonel Scott mentioned earlier, this is the first that a non-air defense unit had ever won the Hamilton Award as the top National Guard air defense unit. They did it as an infantry unit. So it just once again is a testament to the great soldiers we get from the Guam National Guard that were so committed to learning their mission out there on site and just displaying excellence every single day. The next Sec 4 rotation, Team Kalevla, commanded by Captain May and First Sergeant Yakin, made their mark by having 2 soldiers successfully graduate from air assault school, and they had 3 more pass the Expert Infantryman Badge test. The EIB, that one is even harder than the ESB. It has a pass rate of 15%. And these 3 soldiers that pass that test and earn their badge end up being the very first in the task force to earn the Expert Infantryman Badge, as well as the first in the 38th Air Defense Brigade. Cumulatively, Task Force Talon has had more skill badge recipients in the past 2 years than any other unit in our brigade. The final example I will share was the performance of our best squad competition team. Last year, our team was the best in the brigade and finished a narrow second at the division level. This year, our team was motivated to not only win the brigade again, but also win at division level over in Hawaii. And that's what the team did. They went to Hawaii, they dominated, got first place, and then they moved on to the USARPAC, U.S. Army Pacific level competition. And at USARPAC, they were taking on division-size units with thousands of soldiers in them. And they were able to finish 4th out of 19. So awesome job by all those soldiers that were part of the best squad competition team. And so so coming up next year, I fully expect that these soldiers will be reloading for that best squad competition team to do even better. Really, the only area our soldiers could not win at was on the football field, unfortunately, here on Anderson. The 36th Wing LRS Squadron, they beat us the last 2 league playoffs, and they also beat us in the last 3 Turkey Bowls. So, General Cooley, if you can do us a favor, if you get some of your LRS soldiers the PCS.
You got to keep a winning team.
Well, yeah, that was the only team it seemed like we couldn't beat was LRS. But we ended up able to win all the competitions. But like I tell my soldiers, it doesn't mean we stop trying. So really appreciative of all the effort that these soldiers here put forth excelling both at their jobs and on the sports fields. The final goal I had for the task force was to have a highly trained unit ready to conduct the defense of Guam mission. Nothing else we do as a unit matters if we can't accomplish the core mission of defending this island. Our Echo 388 Thad Battery over the past 2 years has successfully completed their gunnery certifications, to include this year receiving first-time goes in all events, demonstrating their outstanding readiness to defend this island. They have also successfully executed multiple real-world missions in defense of the U.S. homeland as well. Our Sec 4 soldiers also made key contributions to the defense of Guam mission by successfully deterring all ground incursions into the THAAD site. They even made U.S. Army history when they became the first unit to successfully down a drone within the U.S. Using their SS LIDS counter-UAS system. Task Force Talon made more history this summer when it became the first non-test unit to receive the LTAMS and IBCS prototype equipment. The fact that the Army has sent its newest technology to Guam shows the importance the Army puts on defending this island. On display behind the formation between our 2 THAAD launchers, you can see the LTAMS radar right there. That is considered the most high-tech and best lower-tier air and missile defense radar in the world, and we have it here on Guam now. For the troops for the incoming 343 88 Battalion, who will field all this new missile defense technology coming to Guam, that Task Force Talon has begun to receive. The very first troops in 34388 are in this formation right now today. They're currently small in number, but once this battalion is fully fielded over the next couple of years, they'll be comprised of up to 700 soldiers. The Army is coming big to Guam, and Task Force Talon is just the beginning. The man that will be bridging the gap for Task Force Talon until the standing up of the 34388 Battalion is Lieutenant Colonel Garnett. Chris is a prior battalion commander with a wealth of experience that will eventually help this unit be the bridge standing up of 34388 next summer. Chris, you're the right guy for the job. I wish you all the best as you take command of the task force. To the soldiers of Task Force Talon, thank you for all the hard work you've put in to make this unit the most lethal, most ready, most trusted air and missile air defense force in the entire Pacific. Remember to keep your guard up, launchers ready, the radar's hot, the morale higher, and this beautiful island safe. Thank you, and see you as Mossing. Talon 6 is officially signing out.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of Task Force Talon, Lieutenant Colonel Christopher R. Garnett.
Victim of being the second shortest speaking here at the podium. Lieutenant Governor Tenorio, Admiral Lasky, General Cooley, Colonel Scott, Colonel Marshall, Sergeant Major Ketching, and our remaining Joint Force partners' families. Afade, good morning, welcome, and thank you all for attending this morning's ceremony. It's a tremendous privilege to be taking command of this organization. John Stafford, you've been an open book since day one, and you've created a legacy and history here that speaks volumes. I could not have asked for a better handoff from anyone. I wish you and your family the very best with your next move. Command Sergeant Major Johnson, you represent and lead the non-commissioned officers and soldiers of this task force with superior competence and professionalism. A firm reminder that the NCO Corps, empowered with leading our military, remains our asymmetric advantage, making it the envy of the world. And I look forward to working with you. To our Joint Force and agency partners, as the military growth on Guam expands, we look forward to working with you, all services and installations, as we strengthen our partnerships with the local community to ensure the one Guam approach is achieved. For the soldiers in formation, as the task force transitions to the Guam defense system, your mission of providing and enabling missile defense here on Guam as the #1 priority to preserve a free and open Indo-Pacific. Guam is the homeland, and defending Guam is defending America. Lastly, all this would not be possible without the unmatched love and support of our families. As the absolute unsung heroes, their sacrifices directly allow us to focus and accomplish our mission, and we are forever indebted to them. Thank you all for attending this morning's ceremony. May God continue to bless our service members, their families, the amazing island of Guam, and the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and join us in the singing of the ADA March and the Army Song. The words are found in the back of the program.
Task Force! Attention! So this concludes the ceremony. Stands ready for fire.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the Task Force Talon Change of Command ceremony. Lieutenant Colonel Stafford will remain in front of the reviewing stand for those who wish to bid farewell. Please join Lieutenant Colonel Garnett for the reception in the hangar. Thank you.
Oh, it was such a great.